In your writing, you'll use sources, the work of other writers or artists, to support your key points. You might use a primary source like interviews, photographs, or work of fiction, or you might use secondary sources like research articles. You cite your sources anytime you've quoted, paraphrased, or summarized from a work. We cite sources within the paper and on a final page called the Works Cited page. The purpose is to give credit to the creators for their content and also to allow your readers to access these sources if they want to learn more or use them for their own projects. The page on which you cite all your sources is titled Works Cited, which is centered and followed by your individual entries for each source. Sources are listed in alphabetical order and formatted with a hanging indent, which means the first line starts at the margin and the following lines are indented. This format helps your reader distinguish each individual citation. In Word, you can create a hanging indent by going to the Paragraph menu and choosing Hanging from the drop-down Indentation menu. To format each of your individual sources, it's important to know that there are certain elements that need to be included depending on the type of source. We recommend that you follow a model when you get started with MLA formatting. You can use the MLA Handbook or another reliable resource for help. I'm showing you the first page of the MLA Format Simplified handout from the Writing Center. You can get this by stopping by to see us, by downloading from our webpage under Resources, or by accessing the PDF under this video. Here you see the core elements that you'll need to find to give credit to your sources, for example, the author, the title, the publisher, the date, and the location. You can follow any of these templates on the handout for the type of source that you have. For example, this page gives you templates and examples for books and newspapers. And this page gives you templates and examples for periodical and journal articles and encyclopedias. In this video, I'll walk you through how to format key source types that you'll use in your papers. In addition to our handout, I wanted to point out that there are other helpful tools that can aid you in creating your Works Cited page. For example, most articles that you'll find from our databases have citation generators that can be great help. Here I'm using Academic Search Premier and the search term Coyote. I chose Trickster Tales Around the World, which is a book review. In order to get the citation for this source, I clicked Cite on the right side over here. In some other databases, this might be called Citation Tool. And I scroll down to be sure I had the MLA formatted citation. From here, I can copy and paste the citation in my document. As a last step, I'll check it against a model to be sure that my information is correct and complete. Let's work through some examples together. We'll begin with the simplest source format, a book. If you want to cite a book with one author, you will begin by writing the author's last name, comma, first name, period. Next, the title of the book in italics, comma, the publisher, comma, and the publication year, period. Notice we abbreviated press with a capital P. That is perfectly permissible. Let's say your book has two authors. In that case, you'll add the second author following the first with a comma and writing it as you would normally see it, first name, last name. And what if your source has more than two authors? Begin with the first author's name, last name, comma, first name, then another comma, and the phrase et al., meaning and others. Many reference papers require you to use journal articles from our library's database. Let's look at how those are formatted. To cite a journal article from a database, you'll need to include some important information. In this example, we will use an article from Academic Search Premier. We begin with the author's last name and first name, followed by a period. Next, the title of the article in quotes, followed by the journal title in italics, volume, abbreviated VOL period, and number written as NO period. Write the date in MLA style and the page numbers. Next, we include the title of the database in italics and now the location. In this case, the article has a Digital Object Identifier, or DOI, which provides a permanent link to the article's location. When it's available, use this. If we have no DOI, we use the web address of the source. Remember that punctuation is important, so be sure you check the placement of your commas and your periods. But what if the source you're using comes from a website and not from a database? Let's take a look. If the article you're using has an author, you format it this way: author's last name, first name. title of the article in quotes, title of the website, publisher of the website if it's different from the title, publication date or last revision, and location or URL. The date you found the source online is not required, but we've included it here so you can see what it looks like. If your article has no author, follow the same format, but begin with the title of the article, which is in quotes. What if you'd like to quote a video source in your paper? No problem. Just follow the template and make sure you provide adequate information about your source. In this example, we begin with the title of the video in quotes, the title of the site the video was found on, YouTube, in italics, the person who uploaded it, the date, and the URL. Again, we included the access date as well. There will be other types of sources that you may want to reference in your work that I haven't mentioned here. For example, you may want to reference a personal interview, your notes from a lecture, an image, or some other unique source. Don't worry. Just follow the model for the type of source you're using to help you structure the citation and include the proper information. In addition to the Writing Center handout, remember you can use sources like your MLA handbook or the Purdue OWL website. At this point, if you're thinking that it might be easier to use a citation generator like EasyBib or Citation Machine, remember that these tools can be helpful when you have a question about how to cite a source, but it's important to note that they're not always accurate. It's always smart to be sure to check your entry against a model to be sure it's complete and correct. We've included a PDF of the Writing Center handout here to help you achieve your goal of a perfectly formatted Works Cited page. Now you can try it on your own. To double-check the Works Cited page for your paper, here's a checklist for a quick review. Pause here or download the checklist under the video for help. If you haven't put yours together yet, here's an exercise to help you apply what you've learned. We've included this practice activity right underneath the video. Try the exercise and check against the answer key provided. Bring your paper or your completed exercise to the Writing Center to meet with a tutor and get credit for completing this workshop. Now you're on the road to being an MLA expert. Good work! Thank you for watching, and remember, we're always happy to see you and work with you on your writing projects in the Writing Center.